Welcome to Peters Marine and a how-to class on starting your boat out of the water. I've got the sun pad tilted up already in lieu of starting the blower. You can do either. I'm just doing this ahead of time, mentioning about the blower. Make sure you still run your blower before you start the engine for a few minutes, just like you would if you're up at the lake. Just being here in a driveway doesn't relieve you of that responsibility. Make sure you are running that just in case. One of the things that you have to do when you're starting this engine is you have to get the drive down into what's called the safe operating range. And right now it's all the way up. It's in the tilt range. I want to get it farther down. So one thing I've already done is I've taken the tongue jack up in the front of the trailer, and I've cranked that down somewhat to allow the drive to go further down. So keep in mind you might have to do that depending on your configuration, on how low the boat sits in the trailer. The next thing what I'm going to have to do is bring this down to the safe range. The reason you want to do that is inside what's called these bellows hoses, these rubber corrugated tubes in here. There's a drive shaft that comes in and eventually makes its way down to your prop shaft. Inside there's a U-joint, and that allows you to get power down to the propeller even if the drive is tilting. If you tilt that up too far, as it is now, and start the engine up, that U-joint's going to spin around and it's going to hit itself. It's going to, the knuckles of it are going to hit each other, and you don't want that. That's a bad idea to have that happen. So I want to get this down into the safe range. I'm going to go do that. Bobby, who's doing the video here, is going to yell when I get close. He's going to give me a stop sign or a stop command, just so I don't hit the ground. Keep in mind you don't want to do that. Okay, Bobby gave me a hand signal, let me know that I was close to the ground. Okay, that lets me know I'm down. The way I'm going to check to make sure that I'm in the trim range, aside from looking at your gauge, is I'm going to go back up slightly. Now, depending on your control box, your control lever, it'll vary how that happens. Most cases, you've got, where your thumb is, a little rocker switch. And I'm going to press this one up till it stops by itself. I don't want to go back up into the tilt range. Okay, and you'll see that when this stops, the next time, that's stopping by itself. Okay. Now that just assures that I'm in the right range, the fact that I can do that. I don't have to come back up here. I can keep it down, but that's, like I said, just a double check to make sure it's where it is. Speaking about the shift lever, when you're shifting into and out of gear, sort of a side note here, shifting into gear and out of gear into reverse, make sure you shift quickly. The reason you want to do that is you have gears that engage. In this case, they're actually down in here. And these gears, when you want them to engage, you want them to engage quickly. In which case it's going to make a loud clunk sound. That's okay, that's normal, that's good. What you don't want to have happen is to shift slowly and these gears grind and then shift into gear. You want them to go quickly. Again, you want to get a quick clunk, not a grind and a clunk. So again, when you're shifting, whether you're in water, out of water, quickly. Okay? It is okay to run the engine at higher RPMs when you're out of the water, but don't go too high. You don't have a load on the propeller, or lack of propeller in this case, but you don't have a load on it, so you don't want to go too high. It's going to spin up too fast. Okay, but 2,000–3,000 RPM is fine if you want to do that. Next thing we got to do is we got to get water in here to suck the water in to cool the engine. Right here, you can tell what I'm doing. I got my finger up in a hole there, and that's your water exhaust. Water's going to come out of that hole. There's one on the other side as well. If you have a V6 and a V8, the water exhaust is going to come out on both sides. It's just going to dump right out of there. If you only have a 4-cylinder, then it's only going to come out on one side. So don't worry about that if it's only on one side. That's normal for a 4-cylinder. V6s, V8s, they'll come out on both sides. Let me grab what's called the flushettes, or muffs, as some people call them. Using a garden hose. I'm going to center them right over the intakes. And then In a minute, I'll go ahead and turn the water on and start it up. What I'm going to do after I start it, I'm going to hang off the back here while I'm still in the boat, just in case I have to turn the engine off quickly. And I'm going to look to make sure that is staying, and I'm going to look to see that I have water coming out. That way I know water is going through the engine, circulating through the engine, cooling the engine down. Sometimes when you first turn the water on, this has a tendency to move or pop off. So double check it before you go and actually start the motor. So again, what I did, hanging off the back there, was looking to make sure this stayed on, and that water was coming out of the exhaust ports. Pretty simple to start it up while you're in your driveway. Just again, a couple quick things to make sure you do, just so you keep everything safe. Down into the trim range, not tilted up too high, good supply of water. Check that the water is both going in and coming out. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, certainly give us a call. Thanks.